All right, we're recording. Hello, everyone. I'm Tal. This is
My name's
Nightly.
Knightley,
Oh my God, this is the Tal and Nightly show.
and we're definitely doing this for the first time.
Yep, for the
Hey!
first time. For the first time, guys. Okay, so to explain what's going on, this is gonna be like uh, a let's read. It's not gonna be like an audiobook. We're gonna have commentary, so I'm sorry. Um, and this Reverse Harem X Reader is original fiction written by our mutual friend who goes by Pearl. And Knightley and I have been big time fans of Pearl's writing before we became friends with her. And I, in fact, made a webtoon adaptation of this story, but only less than the first chapter. And we'll get to look at that after finish reading.
Yes.
Yes, we'll read the prologue and the first chapter today. Um, Anything else that I have to cover? I'm Tal. This is Knightley. We're
I'm
two
Knightley. I think we got it. We can go
rambunctious
into it.
gals. All right, let's get into it then. Um, all right. This is just like a date sim. Just like a date sim. Reverse harem X reader. Um, After jokingly making a wish to a love well for all the hot guys in your school to fall in love with you, you're absolutely horrified to find out that your wish has come true. It's up to you to undo the wish in the only way you can, by making all of them fall in love with you for real. But that might be easier said than done. I also want to say that our friend Pearl wrote this, started writing this in high school. So
So
keep
she's
that
kind
in
of
mind.
embarrassed about it,
She's
but you know.
embarrassed. Also, this takes place in high school, and all of us are not in high school anymore. But we read this when we were around that age, so that's that on that. Okay,
Read in class like I did.
prologue. On a day where the sun shone brightly overhead, you found yourself in front of a lush, overgrown well. You had heard of rumors of a wishing well that would appear in random places in different places in Japan, and it could grant any love wish. The rumors were absolutely ridiculous, so you had never held any faith that the mystical well would come along and solve all your problems. Yet here you were, staring at a well, practically falling apart brick by brick and covered in an assortment of passionate flowers and vines. It was ridiculous, but most things were. Blinking slowly, painfully slow, you wondered where it possibly could have come from. You walked the same path every day, taking a shortcut through the forest to reach your host family's home faster. Was this an elaborate prank? Someone wanting to see how much faith someone would put into the stupid Lovewell rumors? You laughed out loud. No one would be around. School ended hours ago, and most club members wouldn't traverse through the forest. But if they did, what did you care? This was ridiculous. Who would construct a well like this in order to prank a bunch of unsuspecting high school idiots into getting their love wish? You clutched at your stomach, laughing your head off at the idiot that had so much time on their hands that they would do something so meaningless. Digging through your bag, stifling giggles, you managed to find your wallet and took out one of the 5 yen coins Kana had given you earlier this week. You flicked the coin into the stupid prank wishing well. Jokingly, vocally, you said very sarcastically, "May all the hot guys in Hiragi High fall head over heels with me." Still cackling to yourself, you shoved your hands into your pockets and continued on your way home, on your merry way home, completely oblivious to the set of yellow eyes following your every movement. Your wish has been heard loud and clear. First of all, between you and me, I have a huge thing for golden yellow eyes, and I know you do too.
Yeah. It's just a really good aesthetic.
Just something about golden eyes. Do not look at the fact that my favorite character is 707. Anyway, this is
And
some.
not looking into the fact that yellow eyes is just my ideal type.
You just love golden stuff. Oh my
I
god,
do.
you're just a little
I mean, if you
dragon.
can't tell.
You're just a dainty little lady. Um, so oftentimes Lovely will have like, or Pearl will have like commentary at the end of it. So it's kind of funny to think that she wrote this stuff when, in high school. I've had this idea for a long time, but I never started it. I'm not giving much away, but I will say that every guy will have its own route, like just like a dating sim. There may or may not be a harem ending. We'll see. In addition to this, I would like to make it clear that there will eventually be girl options and one additional
Yes.
boy option for romance.
Just in case you guys didn't know, there were going to be boy options in
Right,
here, you
right. In
know.
this verse harem X reader. Um, and the image belongs to the beast. That's the art you're seeing at the bottom of the screen here. And I prepared this extra window so you guys can see the images that will be appearing throughout the text.
For any visual learners out there.
This is uh, some of this will be my art, so don't worry too much about it. Anyway, moving forward to the chapter one. Something may be up here. Ah, I should pull up this image in there as well.
Okay.
I should pull up this in the little bottom. There you go. You can look at that while we're
Right.
reading.
Then let's see, I got Kana.
Mm-hmm.
Come on and wake up already.
A very familiar feminine voice shrieked your ear off. Groaning pitifully, you rolled over to your side, away from the loud noise, and attempted in vain to both hold on to your blanket and cover your ears. Apparently, it didn't make much of a difference in the end, when said girl tugged your futon up so hard you ended up rolling out of it. I'm up. I'm up, you moaned, rubbing your eyes as you shifted your shaky legs. Kana, still in her pajamas, but still looking strangely refreshed considering the early hour, pursed her lips at your actions and grabbed you by the ear and tugged you to the bathroom.
Hurry up already, you dumb idiot. We're already running as late as it is. If we only have like 45 minutes left to do hair and makeup if we plan on eating breakfast and making it to school on time.
Kana shouted and slammed the door behind her to give you enough space and enough peace and quiet to complete your morning business. That was Kana for you, a lovely member of your host family and a complete stickler for appearances. She insisted that she always looked craftily made up and cute, and of course you too by default because the two of you would be seen together. She was so vain. But you knew she meant well, and if you ever put up any serious resistance against her antics, she would definitely stop. Still, it could grate on your nerves a bit after her insistence that you always maintain a perfect reputation.
Respectable girls always show up for school on time. What do you take me for? Some hooligan that can't even be bothered to make it to time for classes? Education is so important. We can't take it for granted. What do you mean you don't want to join a club? Don't be ridiculous. Do you want everyone to think you're just some lazy foreigner? You need a club anyway, so you can make it more time for friends. I hate seeing you so lonely without me. Stop watching all that crappy anime like some weirdo otaku and actually study. If you fail your exams, it's going to make you look bad. Is that what you want? Not to mention, you'll probably get sent back home and I'll miss you. You can't just skip lunch. I don't care what you've heard. Those kinds of diets never work. Huh? You forgot your lunch? Mommy, why didn't you say something earlier? Here, eat some of mine. Don't forget next time.
She was so high maintenance, but in the time you've been here, the two of you have grown close. Which is exactly why she worried about you so much. Annoying, yes, but you couldn't find in your heart to ever actually get upset with her. You did your best to hurry through your morning routine, just in time for Kana to burst through the door, already decked out in her uniform and gripping yours in hand.
I dressed already. We have makeup and hair to do.
You look like you're already done.
Of course I am. I did it while I kindly let you sleep in. But the time for sleep is over. Get over here already, lazy bones.
Kana shouted. You sighed, resisting the urge to rub at your temples. How Kana could stand to be so loud in the morning, you would never know. You stepped over to Kana, handing over your makeup bag. Since you and Kana had different skin tones and preferences, you had to have your own bag. Most of it was gifts from a ridiculous friend, eyeshadows and lipsticks that she claimed fit your coloring so well as some of your favorite colored lipsticks. Pulling out your foundation, concealer, and powder, Kana began painting your face like a canvas. You had long since learned to keep still during the mornings. Somehow, Kana was always able to make things look perfect, no matter how much you moved around. But you didn't want to make things harder on her by being difficult. Kana moved to blush next, using a tone that accentuated your cheekbones nicely. Kana had always had an eye for those kinds of things, amazing as she was. Next, eyeliner and eyeshadow. Due to school rules, Kana refrained from dark colors, settling for an earthy palette and some simple wings that she always magically got right in the first time. A hint of mascara finished the look, as well as some normal-looking lip balm. Kana avoided lipsticks during school because they could be too attention-grabbing, and Kana liked to think the eyes were more than enough to make you stand out. You stared at your reflection in the mirror. Kana really was amazing. You looked like you were actually alive. Kana moved to your hair next, running your fingers along your locks. She hummed for a moment before nodding in appreciation. She settled for a style midway between classy and casual. It always amazed you how she managed to do it. You'd seen her work wonders on short hair and long hair, thin and thick. She could always do something, somehow, whether it involved subtle accessories or a multitude of hair ties. You sighed blissfully at your reflection. You look damn good if you say so yourself.
Just enough time for breakfast.
Kana hummed thoughtfully as she carefully put her materials away. Yeah, just let me get my school supplies ready, you replied.
Anna huffed. You should do that before we leave, dummy.
Yeah, I know, but I think I left my math homework out from last night, we responded. I need to grab it, so, and then we can eat. Kana nodded, already on her way downstairs, not paying you any mind anymore. How very Kana-like of you. Kana-like of her. You walked into your spare bedroom with Kana. You felt a bit guilty upon noticing she had already put your futon away. As much as you appreciated it, you really wished she would stop. You could clean up after yourself, a conversation for another day, it seemed. You reached the desk and froze. Your math homework was there, all right, opened up to the assigned pages, but only half of them had been filled out. You could have sworn you finished it the night before. The night prior, you had felt a wave of exhaustion, but you definitely remembered completing the last of the answers before clocking out on your futon. It must have been a dream, and now you're screwed. You had to finish them. You weren't deluded enough to ask Kana if you could copy her answers, but you knew she would oblige. But you also knew she was also the worst at math. If you got to school early enough, you could probably ask another friend or finish up the answers on your own. No time for breakfast this time around. No way you were turning in half-finished homework. Grabbing your workbook and bag, you took off downstairs. Kana sat at the table, happily nibbling on a piece of fish and sipping on the miso soup made by her host family's matriarch, Shinozaki Makoto.
God, MILF.
She's a cutie. Oh my gosh, and I designed her apron to make it look like she's like
A little monster?
Yeah.
So cute.
Shinozaki Makoto, the older woman, was beautiful and had a constant source of support, but you didn't have enough time to eat the meal she slaved over. I'm going on ahead, you breathed.
What about breakfast? Anna asked, suddenly annoyed at you, and Makoto tilted her head to the side in concern. Are you not feeling well? Makoto asked.
I forgot to finish my homework. I'm going in early to finish it, you explained. You expected a lecture from Kana, but she just nodded in acceptance. Makoto stood up from her seat and padded into the kitchen, grabbing a cutely wrapped box. Makoto handed you your bento.
Good luck. Try not to forget next time, Makoto smiled, and you couldn't help but return it in spite of your distress.
Thanks, Oppa-san, you exclaimed and shoved on your shoes. Now time to rush to class. Oh, man. Oppa-san. Oh, man, I know I'm not saying it right.
Very Japanese high school.
Yeah. I'm getting the tone wrong, I think. Oppa. Oh, whatever. I'm not going to embarrass myself anymore. Anyway, you never really considered yourself much of a runner, but you needed to hurry if you wanted enough time to finish. It really wasn't like you to forget your homework. Usually, if you didn't do it, you were well aware you didn't do it, but you could have sworn you finished it the night before. That was just strange. No use dwelling on it, though. Okay, we're gonna switch narration right now
Because it pissed me off so much if my homework wasn't done.
Dude, there have been times where I dreamt that I solved the problem. It is when you are like a programmer, it happens a lot actually, because you're just thinking about a fucking issue. Anyway,
I'm gonna fight that god in that well.
Oh my gosh, the golden-eyed god.
Anyway, we are gonna switch around, like Tal said.
That's right.
Now I'm gonna do narration, and Tal wants to do the guy voices.
That's right. I like boys. I like boys. Anyway.
Love boys too. You know what? Boys are great.
So true.
Right. Damn it, damn it, damn it, you cursed under your breath. The school was in sight, and you were ready to cry in relief. Plenty of time to finish your homework, right? As you approached, passing the school gates, you noted the class president, Shinju Atsushi, and his little posse of fangirls up ahead. You mentally groaned. Rationally, you knew Atsushi was a helpful and kind individual. Something about him just set you off. Maybe you were just annoyed he had his own fan club and seemed too perfect and princely. Regardless, you still didn't have time to be thinking about why he irked you. You were in a hurry. You helplessly floundered in a pathetic effort to catch yourself before falling. Something grabbed your waist and twisted you around midair. Leg extended upwards, you found yourself gazing into the eyes of Atsushi as he had just caught you, dipped you as a result. You blinked up in shock, too stunned for a moment to even move. That's cute. He's pretty cute. You had never even noticed how pretty his eyes were before, shimmery and purple. Well, you suppose that was the appeal of hot guys. Thanks, you awkwardly sputtered. Expected Atsushi to let go of you, to offer you that stupidly perfect smile and give a perfectly polite response, but he didn't move. In fact, his arms tightened around your waist and he got closer to your face, scanning you as though he had never seen you before, but found something he liked. God, he looked so confused and his eyes would not come off you.
He struggled to find words.
In the end, it was his fangirls that reminded you of the position you were in. That and the way your back was starting to ache from that position. All the girls started squealing and shrieking in that frustrated girl way as though they'd caught their favorite idol sneaking around with a lover. Sushi didn't even move. He just kept moving his face closer. Not like he was going to kiss you, but like he had just had to get a closer look. Okay, this was creeping you out. You knew Kana's makeup skills were fabulous, but this was ridiculous. He started squirming, and after a few moments, you escaped his grip. Sorry, gotta go, bye, you exclaimed, blushing furiously, and started sprinting off before the class president could grab you again, and he had definitely tried. As you reached the mouth of the school entrance, something grabbed your ankle again, and you ended up face planting that time. With a mouthful of dirt, you bemoaned how your morning was going. Struggling back up to shaky legs, you brushed off your uniform and gave yourself a once over. Your brand new tights had been ripped at the knees which were currently scraped up and bloody. Great. First forgetting your homework, then a weird occurrence with the class president, and now this? Come on. Now you had to go to the nurse and bandage your knees. Even more time wasted that you could be spending on homework. Mumbling curses under your breath, you limped over to the nurse's office and slid open the door, to mostly emptiness. That wasn't true, but the nurse was nowhere to be seen. Instead, you were met face to face with the delinquent boy from your class, just finishing up bandaging his own face. Miyamura, I'm gonna fudge this up once more. Miyamura Katashi. Ooh, bad boy extraordinary.
There's my man.
There was no way to tell what the injury was, and you weren't going to judge him based on the piercings and definite tattoo hiding under his shirt. Maybe it was all a cliche and he had been scratched up while trying to save a cat in a tree. You let out a little chuckle at the image, and instantly Katashi's head snapped up and caught your gaze. Fuck. He had to have heard you laughing. He glanced at your bloody knees and huffed, going back to bandaging his wound. Oh, good. You hadn't pissed him off with your blatant rudeness. You never actually needed to go to the nurse before, for whatever reason, so you were sort of in a whole new world. Spotting the bandages, you grabbed a small handful of them and plopped yourself down on one of the examination tables to just stick a few on.
Seriously?
Head snapped up in surprise, staring up at Katashi. Why was he talking to you? Hopping out of his chair, he approached you with a bottle of rubbing alcohol and some fresh cotton balls.
You have to clean the wound first, he sighed.
Oh, you replied. Of course you knew that already, but you didn't know where to get those materials and you were in a bit of a hurry. Mumbling to himself, he crouched in front of your legs and started dabbing at your knees with the cotton balls. You hissed under your breath at the stinging, but even more than that, what was he doing? What are you? You growled. And then he looked up, his eyes dark and ringed from lack of sleep and possible eyeliner met yours. King.
Oh my gosh.
He wears eyeliner, ladies,
so
come on.
beautiful.
And for a moment you just stared at one another. By all intents and purposes, it was a magical experience. It almost felt intimate, like you were intruding on a private moment, which was odd because you were a part of said private moment. He scooted up, away from your knees, gently putting his hands on either side of your thighs. Due to the fact that you were on an examination table, at his full height, you were both at about face level. He leaned in, eyes wide and unblinking, and unlike the school president, you knew this time he was going to kiss you just then. You knew the two of you had just had a moment, an undoubtable spark, but this was just ridiculous. You never even spoken before, in spite of being in the same class. However, leaning didn't seem to be like the smartest option either. What with you being on the table, then that would give him the opportunity to crawl on top of you. I mean,
Stop.
crawl on top a little bit as a treat.
Ah, my goodness.
Still gets me that MC. She's a good girl. She wouldn't take advantage of.
Right. No spoilers though. We can't say what's happening.
Okay.
Although I guess it's kind of obvious.
Would you look at that? Time for class! You shrieked and pushed him away with full force, just enough to hop down from the table and sprint out the door. You prayed to every god that you wouldn't trip and fall again. After everything that had happened, class didn't seem so appealing, but what other choice did you have? Just as you were starting to resign yourself to a day full of failed math homework, you heard two voices calling your name. Two very familiar voices.
Oh my gosh.
Two voices belonging to two men that had accosted you just that day. That was that. You couldn't take this anymore. Up to the roof you went, where you wouldn't have to endure this bullshit. With those thoughts in mind, you ran away from your pursuers. Mood.
Oh my god.
You weren't
Running
under
away from
any
men?
delusion.
Can it be me?
You weren't under any delusions that just being on the roof would be safe. For one thing, even if you escaped those two guys, the teachers would still check the roof for stragglers before class. You had to hide. The best spot seemed to be a little cluster of pipes on the side of the school. In the center of this box of pipes was a large open space, and there was a little opening on the side that you could easily slip through. With this in mind, you squeezed through and leaned up against the brick wall. Just what was going on? Both the class president and the delinquent had moments with you. Weren't the type of person people had moments with. This wasn't a shoujo manga. He took a deep, calming breath. Maybe Kana's makeup skills are so on point they couldn't help but stare at you. Yeah. Speaking of Kana, she was going to be enraged that you were skipping class, what with her obsession with making good impressions to everyone and maintaining her reputation. But you really just weren't feeling up to going to class, which was odd. Yeah, nobody liked class, but you had never felt so strongly about skipping before. What am I doing? You grumbled, and then your eyes started drifting. In the end, it was your phone going off that ended up waking you up from your impromptu nap. You felt immediately off after waking up. You never took naps. No, well, that wasn't true, but you never just fell asleep at random, least of all in uncomfortable spots. If you took a nap, it was going to be of your own volition. You didn't just fall asleep. It didn't happen. Something was wrong. First off, you needed to find Kana and tell her what was going on. Normally, you wouldn't be freaking out over something so mundane, but you just had a really bad feeling. Something was wrong. You could just tell. So you started crawling out of your little opening, except you didn't. Even as you squeezed through the gap that had previously been tight but doable, your hips refused to fit through. Your heart pattered in your chest. Either you gained 15 pounds in your sleep, or something was really, really off. Maybe you were just panicking. There was that too. Panicking always made everything worse. Taking a deep breath, you grunted as you tried to shift your hips in the way that would release them from the stupid bars. No cigar. It was humiliating, but you'd have to call Kana and ask for her help. That was mortifying. What if they had to call someone to cut the bars or something? You really, really didn't want to call her. But as you moved back to get into a better position to call her, you found you really couldn't go back. You were good and stuck in your place, your hips stuck almost like glued to the pipes. Breathing furiously through your nose, you decided that maybe this was a good time to panic.
Oh, man.
No matter what happened, you'd end up completely mortified. Calling for help would end up with someone, probably multiple someone, seeing you on your hands and knees stuck in between a set of pipes and the wall. You resisted the urge to cry, not wanting to make it any worse than it already was. Imagine if someone saw you crying while in this position. The idea disturbed you. As you struggled for a solution, you didn't notice the doors to the roof open, nor the curly-haired boy walk through until it was too late.
Oh my god, I have to pull up his picture. Ah, there he is.
Oh my
Hey.
god!
Hey.
Hey!
Hey.
Hey!
Hey, are you okay? He asked.
Head snapped up, taking note of the boy in front of you. He was clearly a third year, which somehow made the embarrassment even worse. You recognized him as one of the more popular guys, Matsumoto Mamoru, if you remembered correctly. You were unsure of how to respond. You were actually going to tell him all was well and send him on his way.
Are you stuck?
Yes, you muttered out in humiliation. Better to limit the amount of people to see you like this and know of the situation. If you could limit it to one, that would be ideal. Regardless, he'd already seen you. There was no way out of this now. Moda actually looked surprised you'd bothered to answer. He leaned down, setting his bento off to the side, and grabbed onto your arms to help you.
You don't look that stuck. He muttered and tugged on you.
You didn't budge, but you did grunt a bit in pain. He shifted his position again and tugged even harder. Nothing. Another shift, he tugged again. That was when the pipe magically seemed to move and you jerked forward, knocking Mamoto over and face planting into his chest. Why did this keep happening to you?
Finger guns, hell yeah.
Why did you keep getting put into these situations? Why? You moaned, lifting your head off your senpai's chest and going out of your way to lift the rest of your body off too. There would be no more body-to-body contact here. I am so sorry, you exclaimed. Are you okay? Did you hit your head? But shook his head as he opened his eyes.
I'm okay. Mamoru cut himself off as he met your gaze.
Somehow you suddenly... Okay.
Somehow, you suddenly had a very bad feeling. And sure enough, he locked his arms around your waist, preventing you from actually standing up. You can read that one. I think that's your thought.
Oh
your
no.
thoughts there.
Oh no. This was not happening a third time today.
Hey, what's your name, Kohai? I don't think I've seen you before.
Why so suddenly flirty? At least he'd been more vocal than the other two, but that didn't make you feel much better about the current situation. I'm very thankful for your help, Senpai. Well, got a blast! You shrieked and rolled out of his arms to make a break for the door. You didn't wait to see if he would get up to follow you, but you did manage enough to grab your bag. What the hell was going on? This was so weird. This is the sort of thing that happened in cliche fan fiction. Well,
Looks away.
well, or Otome games, not real life. No, this wasn't happening. Nope, nope, nope. You finally made your way to your classroom and slammed open the door, catching everyone's attention. Thankfully, it was lunchtime, so you wouldn't get in trouble with the teacher. Thankfully, the delinquent was nowhere to be seen. Not so thankfully, Kana was. A black-haired girl cushioned between a comforting Suzuha and Kirie slammed her phone down, in which she had been furiously texting on, and rushed over to your side.
You dummy, she exclaimed and wrapped her arms around you.
What? What was going on?
I was so worried when you didn't come to class. I didn't know what happened to you. You told me you were going to finish your math homework, but you weren't here.
Oh, that was understandable. Swallowing hard, you returned her hug. I'm sorry. Some stuff happened. I need to talk to you, you exclaimed. Or explained. Anna glared at you, but she tugged you over to the little cluster of desks she'd been sharing with Suzuha and Kirie.
Well, talk, dummy, and this better be good for making us all worry, Kana snapped.
You gave Suzuha and Kirie shocked looks, but they both just shrugged. So they hadn't been worried after all. You took the free seat next to Suzuha and took out your lunch to begin eating and explain your bizarre day so far. Suzuha, Queen, had always been a superior, mischievous air about her. With her enchanting dark eyes and crystalline skin, she should have been the picture-perfect image of the Yamato Nadeshiko, but she wasn't. I'm glad we know who
Yes.
Yamato Nadeshiko
We
is.
have
Tal,
looked
do
it
you
up.
remember?
Yes, it is a term used that is just representative of like the most beautiful Japanese woman.
Little fun fact.
I
for the
thought it was a
audience out there.
human being, but it wasn't. It's not.
I thought
not
it was
really.
a celebrity.
Yeah.
It is not. She just didn't have the personality for it. That wasn't to say Suzuha was loud or abrasive, but she had a tendency to be very playful and she loved to tease. Before Suzuha had entered high school, you knew she'd been slim with long, gently curled dark hair, but the Suzuha you knew now was nothing like that. Suzuha of now had short, curly hair, constantly messy, and some pretty impressive muscles. Nice. Thank God.
Women with muscles.
Dying breed. You did say so yourself. She was still, of course, gorgeous, but nobody mistook her for a Yamato Nadeshiko. She often received the occasional confession, but now they are more from females than males. I'm also one of
Oh
them.
my God, confesses to her.
Yes. When you asked her why she didn't accept any, she just shrugged and said she had her sights set on someone else.
Oh my gosh.
Wonder who?
I wonder who.
Kirie, on the other hand, was a whole different story. With dyed blonde hair and a permanent indifferent look, she didn't garner all that many admirers. Most just assumed she didn't care, that she was just too quiet, but not in the right kinds of way. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. She was just shy and didn't bother pretending to be someone she wasn't. The girl had a passion for fashion, and it showed with increasingly creative ways she found to decorate her bag and uniform. Her uniform is really cute. Look at that.
I love the eyeball decals.
Oh my God, there is a little eyeball decal. I only saw the cherries. That's cute. She was very artistic in that way, making her own clothes from scratch. You suspected she could have gone a lot farther in the art field, but she didn't seem to have much interest in it. She didn't really have many plans for the future, but you weren't going to be the one to force her to make that decision. Her eyes, green and cat-like, were surely her best feature, and you oftentimes caught yourself gazing in them for completely straight reasons. Knowing that you hadn't worried
There's no heterosexual explanation for this.
two of your closest friends, Sans, Undertale,
Sans?
and Kana, apparently, made you feel a lot better without the whole situation. So you began. Okay, so I was rushing to class earlier today when it felt like something grabbed my ankle and I tripped. But I was caught by the class president before I could fall. He actually dipped me, as weird as that sounds.
That's what this is about? You were nervous that a hot guy touched you? So you had to ditch class? Kind of shrieked. Everyone looked up at your little group of friends. Keep your voice down. Oh my gosh, can you take Kyrie? I can't make my voice that high.
Okay. Keep your voice down, Kirie muttered, abashing at being the center of attention.
Sorry, Kana replied. So, That's what this is about? Suzaha hummed, embarrassed at the touch of a man. My, my. I thought you were stronger than this.
It's not what this is about, you hissed. Anyway, it was really weird because he wouldn't let go of me, so I had to sort of squirm out of his grasp. I guess he was probably distracted or something, but it was still weird. Then I started running again and I tripped near the entrance of the school.
Wow. Oh, no. Wow, awfully clumsy today, Suzaha laughed. Did someone else catch you this time?
No, you snapped, suddenly frustrated with your friend's inability to take you seriously. I went to the nurse to get my knees bandaged since I scraped them, but when I went in, the nurse was gone and there was only Katashi-san, the one in our class. Anyway, I just wanted to get in and out so I could work on my math homework, so I just grabbed some bandages, but Katashi-san got annoyed with me. He started trying to clean my knees for me. Stopped. The more you explained the story, the more embarrassing it got, and the more ridiculous it seemed. If your friends weren't taking you seriously now, you knew they would just make fun of you once you finished. You sighed. Just forget it. I went on the roof and took a nap.
What? Kana shrieked. That's it! You never take naps. What the hell?
Kana, indoor voice, you hushed, but Kana wasn't having it this time.
And what's with all that grandeur before? If that's all it was, then what's all that? What's with that all that other crap? Kana snapped. I think she was just proud. Suzuha chuckled.
You weren't. You definitely weren't. But you also didn't want to be made fun of. Maybe later at home, when Kana and you were alone and away from the influence of Suzuha, you'd feel more comfortable explaining everything. As it was, you knew the story sounded dumb and unbelievable. No, I don't think so, Kirie frowned, immediately locking onto your distressed face. You look upset. What happened? Or what else happened? It's really no big deal, you sighed. I'll be fine. All of Kana's anger from before ebbed away, and she opened her mouth to ease some real answers out of you, but Suzuha interrupted.
We'd better finish eating before class ends, she commented.
Kana glanced up at the clock and whined at the small amount of time remaining. She ate quickly, but still maintaining her ladylike posture. You knew you needed to get started too if you had a hope of finishing before class ended. You shuffled through your bag and froze. Your bento was missing. It must have fallen out on the roof. You didn't think there would be enough time to go back for it anyway, but you wouldn't want to. You didn't want to run into Mamoto senpai. You would go back for it later. Your stomach clenched painfully, and you glanced at the clock again. Enough time to go grab some bread and come back. I'm gonna go buy some bread, you announced. Kana swallowed her mouthful of food and gave you a suspicious look.
You're actually coming back this time, right? She asked. What happened to your bento?
I lost it, you groaned. And of course I'm coming back.
You better, Kana frowned. And as you were walking away, wallet in hand, you heard her mutter, Wait, how did she lose her bento?
You didn't have much of an answer, so you kept walking. Somewhere deep in your stomach, you were worried about running into the guys you had all those weird moments with, but you needed to eat something. To get to the little school shop, you needed to go past all the fields, something that made you feel weirdly exposed. You didn't know why, but you felt very paranoid all of a sudden, like something could happen. And sure enough, as you were walking, someone shouted,
Look out!
and just as you turned your head to see what the commotion was, a soccer ball smacked right into your face. You instantly knew that nothing was broken, but you were bleeding and your nose would definitely be bruised. Oh my
Ugh,
god,
jeez.
first the knees and now the nose.
Yeah, just losing it.
Let's see. The force of the ball knocked you to the ground and you clutched at your nose in an effort to stop the blood from getting everywhere. After a brief moment of time, you felt someone rush to your side. Oh, the manager of the boys' soccer team, Natsuki. You knew her to be a sweet and energetic senpai, if not a little monstrous when angry. But this raised the question, why was the whole boys' soccer team practicing during lunch? Am I still be Natsuki?
Do you want me to be?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Are you all right? She urged. Oh dear, your nose is bleeding. You!
Natsuki turned to a boy with red hair. Tom?
This one. There you go.
Ooh. Red hair begrudgingly standing nearby, arms crossed over his chest and refusing to meet either of your gazes. You didn't recognize him. Well, you did, but you didn't know his name.
What is it, Natsuki-senpai? He asked. Apologize, Shigeru! Natsuki shouted. The red-haired boy turned towards them. Annoyance painted all over his face. Ah, so Shigeru was his name. Why should I? He said loudly. She was the one in the way. Why, you little... Natsuki shrieked.
Then another player, dark hair and dark eyes, appeared by Shigeru's side. You didn't know his name either, but he looked somehow familiar to you, like you'd seen him a couple times before.
Apologize, the dark-haired boy demanded, a patient anger burning in his eyes. Ah, come on, Toshi, Shigeru whined.
So Toshi was his name. Or maybe a nickname. You aren't quite sure. Toshi gave his red-haired friend a harsh look, causing the boy to flinch and then sigh. Rubbing the back of his head awkwardly, Shigeru grumbled.
Sorry.
And that was that. Shigeru turned to meet your expression, and suddenly his cheeks turned brighter than his hair, and he looked mixed between awestruck and horrified.
I, um, I... What the heck? Natsuki muttered. Shigeru, are you okay?
Shigeru just grew redder.
I'm so sorry.
Then Shigeru took off down the field, cheeks still burning.
Whoa, Natsuki whistled. I've never seen him act like that before. You think he likes you?
It was that buzzword that brought you back to every single occurrence from earlier in that day. Like, he like you? Those words, something weird was going on here. Something very, very weird. You needed to leave, get back to class with Kana and Kiria and Suzuha and ask for guidance. You were interrupted by a cheerful Natsuki.
Hey, our cute ace, Toshio, here is going to escort you to the nurse. Will you be okay with bandaging your nose by yourself? I think the nurse already went home, Natsuki explained.
Wait, why should... You were already cut off by Toshio gently ushering you away from the field. He didn't say anything, but you knew you knew you needed to get away. What if he reacted the same way as every other guy you came into contact with? You couldn't take that risk. Why did the nurse leave? Turned your head to see you were dangerously close to Toshio's face. It was pretty. Oh my god, he is pretty. Oh my god.
He was pretty.
Long eyelashes, yeah, and a cool, sophisticated air to him.
Well, it's kind of late, Natsuki shrugged. She usually leaves pretty early once school ends.
Once school ends. You blinked, seeing your entire bag gripped by your side instead of just your wallet. But you would have been gone to buy bread. Your heart bounced uneasily in your chest as you suddenly felt very, very sick. Is this some kind of joke? What in the world?
Are you okay? Toshio asked softly. He must have noticed your horrified face, but you were far too gone to answer.
Too lost in your own thoughts. You didn't come out of them until you were back in the nurse's office. Second time that day, with Toshio handing you a bunch of tissues to hold up to your nose.
I need to go back for practice.
You just nodded, numbly. You were pretty sure the bleeding was over with your nose, but you were still too stunned to move. Toshio looked conflicted, like he wanted to say something, but at the last minute he turned around and left you alone. Wait, Toshio had been the first guy you'd come into contact with who hadn't acted completely weird around you that day. Toshio was the one who'd actually acted normal. Wait! You exclaimed, rushing out of the room, almost knocking into a wall in an effort to stop Toshio before you could leave. He turned around, confused, but also a bit happy. Thanks.
Toshio nodded slowly. You're welcome.
Still nothing. He was still normal. He looked pretty pleased by your gratitude, but not in a weird way or in a smug way. He just looked pleased. You watched him walk away, relief burning in your chest. Maybe things weren't as weird as you thought they were. Maybe you just... Turning around, you couldn't help it. You gasped. Because right before your eyes, a woman was floating. And somehow, that wasn't even the weirdest thing that happened to you that day.
My god, that woman.
Anyway, that rack.
Stop it. My god, that woman. Whoever she is. So strange. Kana Makoto references added. Link to the first mention of the names. And so are Kirie and Suzuha. And I'm Tao. Me. That's me right
Tao.
there.
You're good friend.
I like that we're phrasing this as if we're not actually friends. You know, my friend. Yeah.
Good friend Tao.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're done with the first chapter. And we're under the hour mark. How exciting. I think last time
because we didn't
have
as many guest appearances as
That's
last
right.
time.
We didn't have any interruptions. I don't know if we've mentioned already, but we did read this before, but I couldn't post it because some of our friends hopped in the call, and they didn't want to be published.
Yeah, Pearl herself popped in and
That's right,
groaned over the cringe of what she'd written in high school.
Yeah, I understand the embarrassment.
What are we as friends if not for a little embarrassing?
But this is so good. Oh my god, the audience has to agree that this is so good.
Oh my god,
so
I
much
love
fun.
Did you put like a link in the description for
I
the
will.
fic?
I did in the last time too, as well. Oh
Yeah,
my
so if
gosh.
if you don't want to listen to us stumble upon, you're
Um,
free to read it on your own. There are as many a chapters.
yes, and most likely this will become like abandoned eventually because I very rarely continue on with what I do.
If you want to read what's good so far,
Yes,
well,
look into the description and the link will be there. But you know what link will not be there is this this webtoon that
they're
I've made in high
waiting.
school. Um, right, so I was such a big fan, and at this point, Lovely and I had become friends. And so I went forward and started making a webtoon out of her comic with her permission, of course, obviously. And I've got permission to like post this stuff on YouTube as well from her. Um, and we're just gonna flip through this. This art's like super duper bad because I was 17 at the time. Um,
Still good by my standards. I still think it's good. I would love to get
well,
to that point.
I think your art is a little bit better than this now. Oh my god, this stuff is a little rough. And
Let's take a look see at the prologue.
that's right. I was just about to say, I made a design for the reader for the self-insert reader character, and she goes by Rosario, and
She's
that'll
so
be that.
cute too.
Yes. My gosh, I like it. Women. God, I'd heard rumors of a wishing well
God.
that would appear at random places, different places in Japan, and could grant any love wish. Oh my gosh, the
Oh my
narration.
God, there's our MC.
MC. Oh my
She
gosh.
deserves to have everyone fall in love with her. And there's the golden eyes.
Golden Eyes. I wonder who that is.
Ooh, I wonder who that is.
Wait, I actually wonder who that is. That's
I
not
know
the
who that is.
is that the woman that we meet?
Oh, that's a
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
yeah, yeah.
Gosh, it's actually been a
I'll
long
tell
time
you
since I
about it
read.
afterwards.
It's been a long time
Oh my
since I read
God,
the story. Gosh,
there's
look at
all
all
the
these
silhouettes.
characters poised to grab each other's ass. I made that
There it
joke
is.
last
I was
time,
waiting
but
for that joke because if you weren't gonna make that joke, I was.
I made that joke last time, but like it's a joke that is so obvious every time you see this thing.
Oh my God, you can see your
Oh
MC.
my gosh, yeah, we can read the bios for the characters as they pop up because that's not in the original story. Um, so for the character or the reader character, she likes spicy curry, decorative soaps, shaped like seashells, gag manga, and hanging out with Kana. Dislikes selfish people being referred to by your surname. When female characters are killed off solely to further the male protagonist's angst. Oh my gosh, so true.
Keep that in mind, future writers.
Um, I don't remember what's spoiled
Redacted.
there. Yeah, redacted. Rosaria is a cheerful young girl who mostly tends to keep to herself and her group of friends. She cares deeply about her friends and tends to get attached way too easily. She's determined and isn't the type to give up easily. She's also got a strong moral compass and always wants to do what's right, even if it's difficult. That'll
It's a
come into
good
play.
girl.
Ah, the opening scenes of chapter one. These,
Sleepy Rosaria.
I'm like really embarrassed at some of these faces.
I think they're so cute. And then we see her putting on the little makeup
Yeah,
and
this sequence is kind of nice. I would not mind picking up this webtoon again if someone really yelled at me super hard and paid me money.
oh, if someone has $1,000 out there, Tal
Yeah,
will pick
just
this up
drop it.
again.
Just drop it into the PayPal. I also planned on Lovely and I plan on adapting this story into a visual novel, so it'll actually be a dating sim for real. um, and oh my gosh, Makoto had a different design when I made this comic as well. Um,
I don't think she had the mom
yep,
the mom death haircut.
that's right, the side ponytail. Um, gosh, new characters. And yeah, that's that. These sprites that I've been displaying, uh, while we read, these are actually sprites that I made for the purpose of adapting. For the purpose of using them in the visual novel whenever that comes along.
I went hard.
Yeah, but
Like
like
I'm gonna hyperfixate so hard on this
it's
one fic.
so true. But also like, um, I if I ever I mean like when specifically I'm gonna do this eventually. But when I pick this up
Really?
again, to make a visual novel out of just like a date sim, yes, I'll do it
Oh
eventually.
my God. Oh my
Um,
God.
but when that happens, I'm gonna redo all the sprites. There's no way I'm keeping these. They look nice, but
God.
there's some of these are like really upsetting to me. Like
You can
Atsushi's
make a
head
whole
is so
art book.
big.
You can make a whole art book out of this entire old stuff.
Katashi's head is also really big. Some of these are
You can
just
just
like
say these were
awkward.
like the beta designs.
Yeah, I'll probably redesign some of them as well. Oh my gosh, here's Kana, 17. Likes accessories, makeup, cute things, sweets, rhythm games, animals, and funny outfits. Dislikes math, delinquents, and secrecy. And loves
Ooh.
redacted. In spite of critical and bossy nature, Kana is nothing but, if not a loyal and loving friend to whoever manages to befriend her. She may be very high maintenance, but she'll always go above and beyond for those she cares about. She's very passionate and stubborn, for better or for worse. And then here's the mom, Shinazaki Makoto. She likes cooking, dancing, watching trashy dramas when nobody else is home, extremely accurate and gory Yakuza films. Nice.
We love the Gat Moe.
Insufficient dislikes insufficient seasoning, being away from her family, abusive relationships, and media. So true. She loves her family. On the surface,
Is not
Makoto is
redacted.
nothing more than a sweet and domestic housewife. But there's more than meets the eye. Makoto loves her family with a passion, and she would do anything to protect them and see them happy. She may act docile, but she is capable of so much more than she seems.
MC a dashing.
Oh, there's so many problems with anatomy, but I'm not gonna think about it.
Nice to see the visuals that there's like the little I don't know pixie things there.
Right, right. This will be revealed in the second chapter when we get to see that woman who's standing before us. But this entire webtoon I stopped making before the first chapter ends in the story. I like these
I love her little
big fat
squish,
chibi
her little
faces.
squish
Yeah.
face. It's so cute. I like the texture that you did with the hair.
It's kind of this manga texture that I used. It's pretty hard to look at. I would
I
just
also like
do
the texture of the hair itself,
yes. Oh my
the
gosh,
outline of
yes.
it.
I love natural hair. Um, but if I were to do this in a manga form again, I'd probably just do like flats or like just like flat grayscales instead of textures, unless it was something special. Oh my gosh, and the chapter that's
And we
colored.
see your bias.
Oh my god, here's Atsushi's bio. Likes chocolate singing, being the best in praise and sleep.
Me too.
It dislikes going home and his fan club. Hates his parents. Atsushi acts kind and princely, but he's far from his true personality. He's a skilled manipulator and does everything in his power to get people to like him so he can maintain his spot in the top. In reality, he's ruthless and selfish and will do whatever it takes to get what he wants.
Spot on the top. In high school? Listen, sir, that
Listen,
goes down very
high
fast
school
once you
does
leave
not
high
matter.
school.
To be fair,
No.
I don't know the environment of Japanese high schools, so maybe it's a little bit more intense.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, it's colored. Oh my gosh, it's the delinquent boy whomst I love.
Oh my gosh.
I'll probably make
Past your
this.
knees.
Oh my god, his piercings. Oh my gosh, this part was like fully colored instead of just flats and gradients.
That was thirsting so
Listen,
very
I
hard.
I knew what I was into. God, what is happening
I
today?
love her like little dash. She's like, I gotta go,
I
man.
gotta go. This is the last one. Oh my god, Katashi's bio.
The boy.
Likes food, being relied on. He likes skipping class and sewing. Dislikes mushrooms, unfair fights, class, and studying. And hates Minoru. Oh my gosh. No. I keep getting those names mixed up. That is not
You too.
Mamoru. Although he seems scary, and he does have a darker side, Katashi is actually a pretty kind-hearted guy. He's a little gruff and breaks the rules from time to time, but when it comes down to it, he won't let anyone innocent get hurt. He's not the type to go out of his way to help, but he will never stand idly by either.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Now you have to avoid hot men?
Couldn't be me. My gosh, this is how I imagine the pipes. Though I realize upon rereading, it probably means like she had to crawl through a pipe, crawl through a pipe to
And
get
she
what
was
she
on her
wanted.
hands and knees.
Right.
Yeah. Little expressions still get me though.
I love this one, this expression. God, this guy's
It's
just like
pretty.
actually pretty. Something about the proportions
It's
here.
the eyes,
So
yeah.
yeah, something fit. Maybe it's the hair too. I remember drawing this guy and being so frustrated because doing his hair had to be so exact every time I drew him. If I ever do this again, it will not be so I will not be so nitpicky on myself for that.
Linnea, what's your name, Kohai?
Nah, nah. Listen, I didn't say no when we were reading. I said hey. Anyway,
Hey.
that'll be that for this video. Oh my gosh, we're almost at the hour mark.
All
Anything you
right,
want
that's
to
a pretty
say?
good way to wrap this up.
Anything you want to say?
Thank you. Go follow Pearl
So
on Quotive.
true. Go follow Pearl on Quotive. Um,
If you don't know who you're looking for, she's got over like 2,000 followers because she deserves them.
I think she has like 4,000 actually.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Sorry, I was thinking of my old followers from back in high school.
um,
No, she has over 4,000 because she deserves it. Get
also,
her to 5K.
get her to 5K guys. Also, I will also plug. We have another YouTube channel called Angelop. Um, Lovely and I, Pearl also goes by Lovely, but when referring to her on not Webtoon, on Quotev, call her Pearl. But anyway, Lovely and I host like campaigns, like role play campaigns, kind of like D&D, but it's got a different kind of format to it, and we make a lot of media for it, and we upload those all up to and our YouTube channel, Angela. And we will have more campaigns coming up soon. And although Pearl will not be behind the writing of two of the upcoming campaigns, she will likely be participating in them if she wants to. And we have other projects in mind as well. Lovely and I, we have so many projects in mind. Just look forward to it. I've got so much shit going on. Anyway,
That's Angela up on YouTube.
Angel Op on YouTube, Angel OP. The idea behind it, and it's like one word. The idea behind it is like Angel because Pearl really likes Angel and like wings
Stop.
aesthetics, and I am a rabbit and I like the down-eared rabbits, and those are called lop rabbits. So, Angel Op.
Thank you. Thank you, Tal.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Nightly, do you want to plug yourself?
I don't have
Follow
anything
her
to plug.
Twitter.
I am all plug
Follow
free.
her quota. She also writes stories.
Ooh, no.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
abandoned that long ago. I am currently writing on quota, but as of right now, my story is anonymous. But maybe in the future when it gets more favorites.
All right. This is Tally and
Till next time.
Nitly signing off.